Hi friends, let's start with our SQL interview questions part 4. So in this series we have already covered 3 parts and the link of those videos is provided in the description. So you can go through them first if you want. So the topics covered in this video are what's the difference between clustered and non-clustered index in SQL, truncate, delete and drop commands, then SQL constraints, then union all, minus, intersect, difference between unique and primary key, having clause and where clause, normalization and forms of normalization, and some DDL commands in SQL. So let's start. First question is, what is the difference between clustered and non-clustered index in SQL? So there are around 4 or 5 differences mentioned here. So clustered index is created on a primary key, whereas non-clustered is created on any key. Okay. Ordering store data physically according to the order. In clustered it will be like it will be stored physically only, whereas in non-clustered it will not impact the order of the records. Number of index, so clustered index can be only one. Why one? Because like all these points are related only, like clustered is created on primary key, so primary key will be one only, so that's why clustered index will also be one only, whereas non-clustered is created on any key, so there can be any number of non-clustered index in the table. So if you talk about space, then no extra space is required to store logical structure, whereas extra space is required to store the logical structure in non-cluster index. Performance data retrieval is faster than non-cluster index, and data update is faster than cluster index in non-cluster. So uh, what we can say, we can summarize these 4 points as that cluster index should be done when we have to do data retrieval, like we have to perform the select operations on any table, then we should use cluster index. Cluster index means use primary key, it will be single, and it will store the data physically according to the order. Okay. Whereas non-cluster index, when we should use it, when we have to perform some updates on the table. It can be set on any key, it can be in any number, and it doesn't impact the order. Also, one more thing about the space, that for non-clustered extra space is required, whereas for cluster index no extra space is required. Next question is difference between truncate, delete and drop commands. So a delete command is used to remove some or all rows from a table. A where clause can be used to remove some rows. If no where condition is specified, all rows will be removed. Then truncate remove all the rows from a table. The operation cannot be rolled back. As such, truncate is faster and doesn't use as much as undo space as delete. So first we will understand between delete and truncate, that was the difference, that in delete we have an option that we can delete only the selected rows by giving the where condition. Like if I say that I have a student table where there are details of many students, then I want to delete only the students uh, whose marks are like less than 35. I want to delete those students. So what I can do, I can give a where clause that marks are less than 35. But in truncate, it will not give any such option. It will delete everything from the table. If I say truncate table name, then it will remove everything. Whereas in delete, uh, we have an option to give the where clause and delete only the selected rows. In delete also, like if you don't give any where condition, then it will remove everything from the table. So the only difference is that truncate, once you truncate a table, it can't be rolled back, whereas a delete command can be rolled back. Then comes drop. So the drop command removes a table from the database. So you got to understand the difference between these two. The drop will remove the table itself, whereas delete and truncate were removing the records from the table, not the table. So it will remove the table only, the drop command. All the table rows, index and privileges will also be removed, no DML trigger will be fired, the operation cannot be rolled back. So it also cannot be rolled back. Once you drop some table, then it can't be rolled back. So drop and truncate are DDL commands, whereas delete is a DML command. Therefore, delete operation can be rolled back, while drop and truncate operation cannot be rolled back. So one point to note here is that it's like a favorite question of interviewers, that they ask the difference between delete and truncate and ask like which one is DDL, which one is DML, why it is DML, why it is DDL, like this. So one basic theory is like truncate we can't roll it back, that's why it's a DDL command, whereas delete we can roll it back, so it's a DML command. In truncate there is no option to delete selected rows, whereas in delete we have option to delete only the selected rows. And drop, you know very well that drop is like dropping the table itself. Next question is define union, union all, minus and intersect. So let's consider two tables, T1 and T2. T1 has values as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. T2 has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the result of these operations will be, if we apply union between T1 and T2, so what union will do, it will merge both the tables and the repeated values will be displayed as ones only. It will eliminate the duplicate. So what will be the result? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it will come to second table. It will see that 4 and 5 are already present. So it will start from 6, 7, 8 like this. Whereas when we use union all, it will just sum up both the tables. Whatever duplicate is present there, it will not remove anything. Just as it is, first table will be there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the second table, 4, 5, like this. So it will just add on those two tables. Then comes minus. So what minus will do, it will just show the values which are present in table T1 and not present in T2. Like the same way minus operator works, like if I say 9 minus 5, so 5 are present in 9. What is 9? 9 is 5 plus 4. So 9 minus 5 will be 4 only. The point, the count which is remaining, which is not present in the second variable. So same way, if we subtract a table, if we minus a table from table 1, so whatever is not present there in the table T2 will be the result. So here if you can see that, if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus this, uh, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I minus T1 minus 2 T2 I will do, then I will get 1, 2, 3. Whereas if I minus T2 minus T1, T2 is placed first and T1 will be removed, then what will be the answer? It will be 6, 7, 8. Here, like in this PPT I have mentioned 6, 7, 8. Then how 6, 7, 8 will come? If I minus T2 minus T1 I do, then from T2 minus T1 means whatever values T2 has and T1 doesn't have, those values will be displayed. So those are 6, 7, 8. Whereas T1 minus T2 will give us 1, 2, 3. Next is intersect. Intersect is basically the mutual values which are present in both the tables. So intersect will give the common values and ones only. Like in T1 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. T2 we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4, 5 are those values which are present in both. So it will be displayed once. Next. What is the difference between unique, primary and surrogate keys? So it's a very important question as per interview on SQL. So primary key and unique key difference first we will see. So primary key will create clustered index, we studied just few PPTs back, and unique key will create a non-clustered index. Primary key is not null, whereas unique key allows null. This is basic thing that many students don't know, that in unique key there can be null values, whereas in primary key there can't be any null value. And primary key, there can be only one primary key on a table, whereas there can be multiple unique keys in a table. So you can say that every primary key is a unique key, but every unique key is not primary. Why so? Because every primary key, what's the factor of primary key? That it should be unique. The first thing is it should be unique. But the second condition for primary key is that it should not be null, which is not there for unique key. So every primary key is a unique key, but not every unique key is a primary key. That's the difference. Now comes to primary key versus surrogate key. So what's the difference? Both keys contain a unique value for a record in a table. Primary keys are used in OLTP, whereas surrogate keys are used in OLAP schemas. Okay, primary key holds some business meaning, whereas surrogate key doesn't hold any business meaning. So let me tell you first what is surrogate key. Surrogate key is like a unique key, a unique ID, which is supported by the database management system itself. So like if I say that when I save a record where I have student ID, student name, and student marks, so when it will be stored in the table, it will give it a surrogate key itself. By the database itself, it will give it a surrogate key. It doesn't have any business meaning. It will be just a random key, and which will help to manage the data and its retrieval. So in point 3 we are talking about the same. Primary key holds some business meaning. So primary key, what will be the primary key for that? Primary key will be student ID. If I'm storing the value of student ID, student name, and student marks, so primary key is student ID, whereas surrogate key is that DB ID, that for record ID, I can say that for every record there is some ID, that is the surrogate key. And that surrogate key is used when we are using a OLAP system for analytics processing. Whereas for transaction processing in OLTP, we will use primary keys where we have some business meaning for the key. Last point is primary key may contain numeric as well as non-numeric values, whereas surrogate key can contain only simple numeric values. That is quite understood. That primary key can be any like any key, any field. It's not necessary that it should be a numeric value only. It can be varchar also, but surrogate key will always be numeric only. So in last, we have there are some other keys also in DBMS like alternate key, candidate key, super key, etc. that we will cover in DBMS interview question part. Okay. Next is, what is the difference between the having clause and where clause? Again, a good question. So everyone might be aware of and might have used where and having both, but there are some basic things which are like which differ these two. So let's see what are these. Where clause is used to filter the records from the table based on a specific condition. So it will filter the records from the table, whereas having clause will filter the records from a group. Both will give some condition like having having salary greater than 10,000, where salary greater than 10,000, both are okay. But what's the difference? Having, when we are using having, that means we are we are filtering the records from a particular group, but when we are using where, we are filtering the records from a whole table. So where clause can be used without group by clause also, but having can't be used without group by. Where clause cannot contain aggregate function. So there are some aggregate function that we studied in part 2 of SQL interview questions. So those aggregate functions can't be used with where clause. They need to be used with having clause only. Then where clause can be used with select, update, delete statement, whereas in having clause we can use just select statement. This is major point. So only select statement can be used with having clause. Then where clause is used by group by clause before group by clause, whereas having is used after group by. So if someone asks that like in a query I have a group by condition, so can I use where clause there in that statement? So yes, we can use, but we have to use that where before having, sorry, before group by, and having will be used after group by. It will function as same as where only. When we use having after group by, it will function same as where, just that it will filter out the records from that group which is made by group by clause. So that's okay. Last point is where clause is used with a single row function like upper lower, and having clause is used with multiple row function like sum count. It's same like aggregate function. So having clause can use aggregate function, but where clause can't. So I hope it's very clear. Main points to note in this is that uh, from interview perspective, if I see, then one question that is most important out of this is, can we use where clause when we are using a group by in our query? And its answer is yes, we can use, but we have to use that where clause before the group by, and having will be used after the group by. And how they will function? First, where will filter anything from the table, then it will be grouped by some group by condition, and after that having will filter from that group which is formed by group by. So this is the main question that comes out of this. Let's move to next question. What is normalization? How many normalization forms are there? So normalization is a process of organizing the data in database to avoid data redundancy, insertion anomaly, update anomaly, and deletion anomaly. So I will make a different video to discuss about this normalization in detail because it's a quite big topic. But here we can just see about the interview perspective, that what we should reply if we are asked about normalization. Rest we will discuss in the tutorial. So there are three forms, or I should say that there are four forms. First, and 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, and then BCNF. It is also called 3.5 NF. So what's the difference? There is a very little difference between all. In first normal form, the basic thing is that a table cannot hold multiple values. It should have only atomic values. What does it mean? Like if I say that there is a there is a table where I have student ID, student name, and contact number. And if one student has two contact numbers, so in a particular column of contact number, I have two entries. So that should not be present if our table is in first NF. So what we will do, we will split it into two rows where we will give one phone number, one contact number info in each row. So this is first NF. In second NF, what needs to be done is that the table should be in one NF, that no multiple values should be present, and second is no non-prime attribute is dependent on proper subset of any candidate key of the table. So what does it mean? That there is a table where we have a combination of two fields as a primary key, like I say, I have a student ID and department ID, and the combination of it makes the primary key. And there is some column in the table, in the same table, like department name, which is dependent on only department ID, not on student ID. So what is it? It is like only the subset of the primary key dependency is present there. What it says, that every field present in the table should be dependent on the full set of primary key, not only a subset. So what we will do to remove this, we will move this department column into a new table where there will be only two columns, department ID and department name, and then it will be in second NF. So I hope you understood this. Better you will understand in the tutorial only. So the only thing is that non-prime attribute is dependent on proper subset of any candidate key of the table. Okay, next is 3NF. A table is table design set to be in 3NF if the table must be in 2NF, and transitive functional dependency of non-prime attribute on any super key should be removed. So transitive dependency should be not be there. So what is transitive dependency? That if X is dependent on Y and Y is dependent on Z, this is called transitive dependency. So it should be removed. And how it will be removed? That X dependent on Y will be kept in one table, and Y dependent on Z will be kept on other table. So this is transitive dependency, and it should be removed to make the table in 3NF form. Then comes BCNF, Boyce Codd normal form. It is an advanced version of 3NF. That's why it is also referred as 3.5 NF. So BCNF is stricter than 3NF. A table complies in BCNF if it is in 3NF, and for every functional dependency X dependent on Y, X should be a super key of the table. So only thing you need to know is that for every functional dependency X to Y, X should be a super key of the table. This is BCNF, and this is more strict than third normal form. What was third normal form? Which is in second normal form, and there should be no transactional dependency. And what is second normal form? That no primary key attribute is dependent on proper subset of candidate key. And what is first normal form? That there should not be any multi-value column present in the table. That's it. So this is the last question of this video. DDL commands in SQL. So these are the three major commands: create, alter, drop. So how we create a table in SQL? Create table, schema name dot table name, then column name, data type, and in the braces we will give the length, and we will give a constraint. If it's optional, if we want to give a constraint like unique, primary key, not null, default, all the constraints that we had studied in our SQL interview questions part 2 video. So those constraints we can give here. Then comes alter. In alter table, table name, add column name, data type, and the length. So there are three functions that we can do here in alter. What? One, we can add a column, we can delete a column, and we can modify a column. Like we can change the data type, we can change the length also of a particular column. So these are the three functions. And then comes drop table, table name. It's simple. So there is no where condition or nothing here. It's just drop table, table name. So we'll do the hands-on also. In the, this was the last video, I hope, for the interview questions of SQL. After this, we will start with our syntax-based question. What are the queries that are asked? Like if I say find out the first and last salary, first highest and like lowest salary from a department, and some of the aggregate functions. So about that we will learn in the next video, where we will see different queries that are asked in SQL interviews. That's all for this video. If you want to appear for our mock interviews on SQL, then website and contact details are provided in the video description. Thanks. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you find it useful. Thank you.